your race car, but you can't find one. Let me show you how to make your own. I will do this without vacuum bagging because that's a lot simpler and it's totally unnecessary on a panel like this that's going to get painted over anyway. Small air bubbles in the surface are unavoidable with hand wet layup. But we're making race car parts here, not ones for street cred. However, if you still want the glassy smooth look with the weave of the carbon fibre showing, you can still make the fiberglass mould that I'm going to show you how to make, and then take that mould to someone who can do the vacuum bagging for you. I trim the edges of fully hardened fiberglass, normally with a steel cutting disc on a small angle grinder. But the problem with this is they're not real good on curved edges like you get particularly on the back of bonnets. If you get fiberglass at the right time as it's curing, you can trim it fairly well with a utility knife, as long as you've got a new blade, not an old one. If you look at the job, you'll see that it reaches a point where the resin loses its gloss. It sort of dulls off, and the edge becomes pliable still, but stiff. And then you can just trim it. This is not quite ready yet, needs about another 20 minutes to go. You'll know you've got the time right, because when you cut it, you won't pull the threads out of the cloth. If you start too early, as you start to use the knife, you'll see the white edges of the hairs lifting out of the fiberglass. So stop straight away and give it a bit more time. It just needs to be stiffer than this, but at the right time, you can go around all the curved edges with your knife. Saves a lot of time, and then really all you've got to do is do a tidy up with a sander disc afterwards before you take the mould off the die. Because the car hood is so flat, it needs framing underneath it to give it strength and to keep its shape. And the top end carbon fibre bonnets, like the ones made for show and shine, completely copy this underbody framing to retain some of that manufacturer's look. You can do that in making your own carbon fibre bonnet, but to do so, you've got to make a fiberglass mould of the whole of the underside. And that's adding time, weight and expenses that's really totally unnecessary on just a racing car. Because any carbon fibre bonnet is going to be way lighter than the original factory steel item, you can use the factory hinge points for mounting it. And there's two ways of incorporating these into a bonnet that you make yourself. The first way is to cut out this section here on both sides of the bonnet, position that on your carbon fibre bonnet and lay cloth over the top of it. Now, the problem with that is that in a lot of cases, particularly in an old car like this where the bonnets are not easy to find, you want to retain the whole bonnet just as a spare. So rather than damage this, I'll use the second way, and that is I will make brackets and duplicate this, and I'll probably make up a template as well so that I can position both of those mounting points on either side of the carbon fibre bonnet exactly the same placement, the same height as what they were on this original steel bonnet.